Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Next Stage. My name's John Jacobs, and with me as always...
Vance Daniels.
And today we're talking about Bird Box, the internet sensation. Which we don't really know why.
Yeah, well, it's... everyone's talking about it. Everyone loves it. We watched it about 2 weeks ago. To do prep for the show.
And we each watched it before that.
Right, and neither one of us understood why the fuck anyone is raving about this movie.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not horrible, but it's not great. For me, it was like a mashup movie. It's like a little bit of A Quiet Place, a little bit of The Happening, a little bit of The Walking Dead, like a little bit of 28 Days Later. It's just like all little pieces of all these different films kind of thrown into one with a Netflix budget and actually a pretty decent cast.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Sandra Bullock, we talked about this off camera and we're going to talk about it on. Man, she still got it. You know,
I agree. I've been a Sandra Bullock fan since she kind of broke out. What was it, like Speed and The Net? Those are kind of her breakout films.
Sure.
And, I know my dad really likes Miss Congeniality, and look, I'll admit it, it's not a bad film.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a good comedy, you know. So I mean, she keeps on going. While You Were Sleeping with Bill Pullman.
Okay.
Hey, now, come on. Yeah. And then wasn't she in with Forces of Nature with Ben Affleck? That movie that had all the really cool weather in the background, like the color contrast and everything.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, not the best movie. Like, they were on a plane. I only saw it once a long time ago. Oh. But Sandra keeps her... Oh, she did The Blind Side? You know, that was a fantastic film.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Sandra keeps working, Gravity. I can't believe I forgot about Gravity.
Oh, my God. You forgot about Gravity, dude.
Look, I love Gravity.
You, of all people, forgot about Gravity.
Yeah, Gravity is a fantastic film. Yeah. Just special effects wise, I saw it in 3D in the theater, so it was actually a really cool cinematic experience. But so Sandra keeps working. Who's some of the other characters that we had show up in this film?
Well, Malkovich.
Oh, absolutely.
Malkovich. You know, if you want to go binge on Malkovich.
He's transitioning into those older roles, and I actually like it because it's Malkovich being, angry old man and still like methodical and menacing, but he's older now, but it still works for him. That this isn't Of Mice of Men anymore, right?
Well, no, but since he was always kind of bald, it's always kind of worked for him to just transition to an older guy. That's the great thing about being a bald guy when you're young. If there is a great thing about it, it's that when you start getting older, no one really kind of knows. There's not a big difference from looking at Malkovich now than looking at Malkovich 10 years ago. Sure, if you want to go back like 25 years ago when he started out, sure, that okay, big difference. But now, it's just like, Malkovich is still doing pretty good.
I agree. I definitely agree. Let's talk about what you and I both unanimously agree was a wasted opportunity in this film. Who was that?
Sarah Paulson.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I found out later on that she had been asked specifically by Sandra Bullock to be in the film, and I don't know why, because she's only in it for 3 fucking minutes, or maybe 3 minutes of actual talk time on screen. They did the Oceans movie together, and I think they had a connection or a bond, or at least, she realized that Sarah Paulson's a great actress.
She's on fire right now. She's A-list.
Oh, absolutely.
And, she's working her ass off now. So, you and I talked before, this was probably a situation where she was probably filming something and just had a day or two free. I can't imagine all of her scenes took more than a day or two to shoot.
No.
So she was either in between sets or had time or maybe downtime, what have you. But, we both agreed that we would have liked her to stick around a little bit more than to just get hit by a bus in 5 minutes. It was cool. She got plowed by that bus. Don't get me wrong. But I would like to have seen her stick around a little bit more like Malkovich did and develop that nurturing relationship with her, especially pregnant. They had Tom in the house. Mm-hmm. He kind of assumed that role of, boyfriend, lover, husband. You're in a post-apocalyptic situation, so you're gonna kind of buddy up with whomever. Mm-hmm. And he was there to help take care of the kids and take care of her, but think about the contrast that if that had been Sarah Paulson, and then when the infected people show up, Sarah sacrifices herself to get Sandra Bullock out. that might have been kind of cool to have her around a lot longer in the film.
Yeah, absolutely. There's never a time when Sarah Paulson is in something where you're like, I wish there was less Sarah Paulson. No, it doesn't fucking exist.
I definitely agree.
Wow, I was going to count off a couple things, and I actually found my finger. Okay, so
really,
yeah, it's pretty amazing. People versus O.J. Simpson.
Oh,
she was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like all the actors they got to do it, even David Schwimmer doing Kardashian.
Oh, yeah. He was great.
Wow, what a fantastic miniseries. But she just nailed Marcia Clark, dude. Yeah. Nailed it.
She kind of had one of her first roles was on, at least one of the first roles I ever saw her in, was on the TV show Deadwood. She was in about 5 episodes, and she played a badass bitch. She played a badass bitch who completely was the equal to the main antagonist of the show, Al Swearingen. And it was just like, okay. And, set in 1880, there weren't a lot of those characters, and it was completely believable. She was she was tough, and she completely owned every scene she was in. And I remember thinking back then, like, wow, man, I really want to see more of her. It really didn't happen until the anthology series, the American Horror Story that she's doing now, that she's really become big.
Yeah, I didn't mean to try to interrupt there, but I was actually going to suggest that I feel like for most people, in like mainstream wise, she broke out for American Horror Story.
Right.
Personally, I like the second season, Asylum, the best.
Really.
I loved her character in that. I loved that she got revenge on Mr. Spock at the end. That was fantastic. So I really, really enjoyed Asylum. I felt that was like her best role, and I feel like that was the best so far, American Horror Story. Recently saw Glass, and she was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She's
the
film.
Therapist.
Yeah, great job, especially the ending. So, look, great actress, wasted potential.
Yeah.
Well, let's just kill her in 5 minutes. I get the shock value, the Hitchcock thing. Look, I understand. I just don't feel like it worked for this film. But
go ahead.
My favorite actor in this film, my man, B.D. Wong, dude.
Yeah, B.D. Wong.
Oh, anytime B.D. Wong shows up in a film or a TV series, I am all about it. This man was in Jurassic Park, Law and Order, Oz,
Father of the Bride, Father of the Bride 2.
Father of the Bride 2. I am a B.D. Wong fan. I have to say, though, my favorite B.D. Wong performance is absolutely Oz, because one, I love Oz. I feel like that's one of the best TV series ever made. Mm-hmm. He does a phenomenal job as the father in that, the Catholic father that really tries to do his best with these inmates, and he just constantly gets shit on left and right. He's a chain smoker. His faith gets tested all the time. Amazing performance. So I was stoked to see my man B.D. Wong in this film, and what happened?
Well, he died.
He died.
And he died early, which is a signature of B.D. Wong appearances in film. It's like, with the exception of Jurassic Park, very much gets killed off. Well, I guess also Father of the Bride.
But it was stupid. This whole, let's this gets into our annoyances with the film, right? Let's look at the monster on a computer screen, and maybe it won't kill us because it's pixels on a screen, which he's right. And that's one of the biggest gripes we had about the film. We can transition into discussing that now, was the monster. Like, we both agree that if the characters can't see the monster, the viewer shouldn't see the monster.
Yeah.
We both agree with that. But there are no rules for the monster. There's no rules established. There's no criteria laid out. So they just make up whatever the fuck they want. So it's like, B.D. Wong sees the monster on a computer screen. Somehow the monster has magic powers to still make people kill themselves when they look at it on a computer screen. Why? How is that? It makes no sense.
Well, I would agree that you can... The monster... Okay, the viewer doesn't see the monster... is typically okay in situations, but in this case, it was entirely incumbent on the people who lost their shit that they saw the monster. So there had to be at least once, I think, one sight element of the monster.
We got that, though. Aaron, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, the movie is kind of an analog for memes. The actual pathological, if I'm using the right word there, basis for memes. The idea is that an idea or an image can infect like a virus. That's essentially what a meme is.
Sure.
Is it infects like a virus. In the movie, that's kind of the undertone of the whole movie, is that it's an idea that can get you more than the monster can. The monster is more of a generated... It's almost like they were forced to make the monster for the movie, just so that way there was a monster for it.
Right.
That makes sense.
But it's mainly more about the idea that ideas can infect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I guess maybe I would accept it more if we had maybe some explanation to what the monster was.
Sure.
Besides the guy's half-assed idea of, well, in mythology there was this, and I looked it up in a book. No, man.
Poor best friend from Get Out.
Yeah.
And they go to the grocery store, and he does the heroic thing. He sacrificed himself for the crazy person. Mm-hmm. And when the crazy guy, forget whatever his name is, comes into the house that the pregnant chick let in, didn't bother to tell nobody. He has those drawings, and each drawing is different because the whole gimmick of the monster is it knows you. And when it appears to you, it's going to appear to you as something that only you know. So again, I understand what Aaron's saying with that an image or an idea is a virus, and that is what they portray. But to your point, giving us absolutely zero doesn't really help because I don't care about the characters.
Right.
I don't care about the monster. I don't care about the point A to point B journey they're going on because I have no investment in it because I don't care, because I don't know anything.
Yeah, midway through, I think we were trying to really determine characters' names because we really didn't give a fuck about any of the characters.
No, you don't. The only one I cared about was B.D. Wong, and I don't even know what his character name was in it.
But you talked about the guy being heroic and saving everyone in the supermarket.
Yeah.
This is when you watch the film, John Malkovich was right at every turn. He said, "Don't let people in." When they got to the supermarket, he said, "We don't need to fucking leave." He was right at every turn.
Absolutely. He just wanted to get drunk, but he was right.
It was a survival mode.
Yeah.
They were in survival mode, and he had all the right answers. And whenever someone completely did the opposite of what he was saying, that's when they fucking died. That's when B.D. Wong died.
Yep.
That's when the guy at the supermarket died.
Yep.
That's when they let the pregnant girl let the guy in.
Yep.
And
then he killed Malkovich.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Malkovich got done in because nobody listened to him. The exact thing he said was going to happen happened.
Let's talk a little bit about the pregnant girl who came in, who eventually let the crazy guy.
Again, her character was arbitrary, random, and other than just producing a second kid for Sandra Bullock to have to take care of so the movie was really in two parts. It was a flashback movie and present day movie. Just arbitrarily having a second kid to take care of added nothing to the film. There was no point in either having or not having that.
There was no one who remotely liked that character, and the only
she didn't do anything,
right? And the only reaction I had to that character the whole time was the same reaction that the woman who became hysterical in the movie Airplane, and everyone lined up to slap her in the face, and Leslie Nielsen coming up and smacking her in the face, and the woman tapping on her shoulder, "Doctor, you need upstairs," and he gets one good extra smack in, and that's really what I wanted to do because she was the antithesis of Malkovich.
Yeah.
Every idea she had was bad.
I agree.
And it ruined their whole fucking household.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, just the most hated character. One thing I did want to touch on, we had the young couple who were fucking and then they ran off.
It seems like there's always one of those in an apocalyptic film, right?
But realistically, wouldn't more people be fucking? I mean, they're society is over.
I mean, I would assume so. You don't know when it's the end.
And I guess also maybe for something to me that was unrealistic when we had the birth scenes. Those were some smooth ass legs that Sandra Bullock had, man. Right. I don't know if they took some Nair from the grocery store, but dude, after being in there for like 5 months, those legs were smooth as silk, bro.
Yeah.
Man.
And just how easy the birth was. That was
yeah.
like, watching the Miracle of Life video in school, and the health teacher's like, okay, just to let everybody know, this is going to be the most easiest birth ever. And you watch it, and you're like, oh, yeah, that was really... And then when your kid's born, you're like, that was nothing like the video I watched.
See, I was sent to religious school. We didn't have that. So we were told that storks delivered babies, and the vagina was evil. Vagina.
Wow.
Yes.
Whew.
There you go.
So they did have the romance between Tom and Sandra Bullock, though, because they were the only ones to survive the house once the crazy guy let all the infected people in.
Yeah.
So we had a romance there, and that's where the idea to go to the safe haven they kept hearing on the radio came from. Tom was against it. Sandra Bullock wanted to go, and the infected show up again. Mm-hmm. And Tom sacrifices himself, kills a bunch of them, so Sandra Bullock can get out. And then I guess she just decides she's got nothing to lose, so she decides to float a boat blindfolded in Northern California wilderness up several dozens of miles of rapids and water, and the boat magically stays in the middle the whole time. I think there's a few shots from a drone that we get where it's sideways, but it never bumps into the shore. It never beaches up on some rocks. Right. It never capsizes, and you're going in this thing blindfolded. It's the dumbest point A to point B concept for people blindfolded that you could possibly have. Just like when they're in the car following the GPS, in theory that would work. But you're telling me all the cars are off of the road? Yeah, they run over like one person's head. I mean, there would be thousands of people in the street. There would be cars everywhere. There would be objects in the street. And they just safely traverse that back and forth to get supplies. It's just dumb. It's lazy filmmaking.
Decomposition happened at a very advanced rate with the flying crazy demon in the sky. So those bodies just disappeared.
And I love the whole 28 days later thing where, we're hearing of a safe haven on the radio. Let's go there, and we risk it all to get there. And when we get there, I'm thinking, okay, let's have this be bad, right? Let's have this be 28 days later where they're all psychos and they're trying to take advantage of the women and do what they want and this and that. I want a twisted ending. And what ending did we get, Vance?
We got blind kids in a environment that was loving and everyone's sweet, but you know what? Why didn't crazy people take over that place?
Right, and that's kind of the piece of it too. Is there were some blind kids there because it was a school for the blind, but there were plenty of non-blind people there. Yeah. And what's the guy's name? Rick. The guy. I think it's Rick. I don't know. I don't care. Who was on the radio, and they go to this blind school that is some like stone fortress in the middle of the Northern California forest. Yeah. What parent is paying tuition to drive their kid to this school from the blind in the middle of the forest where they go read and make moonshine? Like, it doesn't make any logical sense.
Maybe they're whatsoever. Like Oswald Cobblepot parents, where they just say, like, listen, we're just disowning this blind kid. We're going to drop him off at the blind school, and we'll never see him again. Penguins
at the abandoned zoo take care of them.
Take care of them.
It's just dumb.
It's Paul dumb. Rubens is the parent.
It's so stupid. So why isn't there an army of those infected people, chipping away at the walls of the blind school that doesn't have windows, but it has an atrium in it? So if this monster has no rules and it can do anything, and you can see it even on a computer screen and still kill yourself, why doesn't it just float above the atrium and have everyone see it there? Again, a movie that has no rules doesn't make any sense, because then it just does whatever for whatever reason, and you get nothing out of it. This movie had no resolve. They simply told you, hey, this is what it looked like when it happened. Hey, this is the monster with no rules or anything. And then, hey, this is the point A from point B travel that offers no explanation, no resolve. It gives you no satisfaction. It wastes your time as a viewer. You get nothing from watching this movie other than Sarah Paulson getting hit by a bus and B.D. Wong killing himself. That's it. That's all you get out of this entire movie.
There's only one person who could have saved this movie, and that's Daredevil. Where was Daredevil? It's a Netflix show. Let's have an overlap. I mean, that guy's blind, and he can hear shit like sonar. So why not? I mean, they're losing Daredevil anyway. So you know what? let's just pop in Daredevil. Matt Murdock shows up.
Oh my God,
yeah.
that would have been fantastic. He could have just dropped down arbitrarily in the middle of the street and just saved a whole bunch of people, man.
I mean, there was no explanation about anything else, so why not have Daredevil show up? I mean,
maybe Wilson Fisk is hanging out at the blind school.
Yes, he's teaching them the business practices.
Sitting there at a table like a king, eating like turkey legs and all this type of food and everything.
We're going to use those crazy people as physical manual labor on the outside.
And, you know, like, we agree that this movie needed something. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, this is new modern horror filmmaking. You know, less is more. And look, I don't disagree with that. I agree less is more in certain situations. There was no suspense in this movie. There was no thrill in this movie. No one cared about what was happening in this movie. This isn't Alien, where you're on the edge of your seat. When you see the alien 5 times in the entire movie, you freak out.
Right.
That's suspense. That's less is more. Yeah. That's lighting, shadow, and sound, and not showing the creature. So I get that's what they were going for, but it failed miserably in this film, because in order to get something out of it, you needed something. You know, it's like A Quiet Place. They didn't tell you anything, and that's fine. I get it. That's the whole point. You wouldn't know what's going on, and, you know, you'd be like that too. Okay, fine. But we're not in that situation. We're a viewer. We need something. I love exposition. I love ambiguity. I love thinking beyond film. So I don't need to be spoon-fed. But if you want to value my time and create a universe and give me something to care about, then you need to make some rules and you need to give me some resolve. And this movie did none of that. And that's why I don't understand why everybody flipped out about it.
You know, when I kind of think about The Fog. The original movie.
Oh, I was going to say, please say the original.
Yeah, absolutely. I never saw the remake, so...
Don't waste your time.
Well, I'm not. But, you know, we had a strong female lead character, Adrienne Barbeau.
Yes.
And, you know, she eventually figures out what the problem is. And, you know, they get the Silver Cross or whatever, Gold Cross, whatever it was, I can't remember.
They're pirates.
Yeah.
They're pirate ghosts.
Pirate ghosts.
Pirate ghosts, like in a Scooby-Doo movie.
Zoinks! But you know what? She solves the problem, and they defeat the pirate ghost.
Exactly.
And we didn't have that here. To your point, there's no resolve because this problem was not solved.
It was not solved.
Gonna live in a fucking blind school for the rest of their lives.
In the middle of the Northern California wilderness. That makes no sense.
I mean, fast forward 2 years later, they're all dead. Okay.
Yeah, the infected are gonna get there, or someone's gonna go cabin fever and kill. Like. They even set it up to have her doctor. Her doctor shows up at the end, and she's like, oh, hey, da-da-da. And I'm like, great. The doctor's going to give us at least one bit of information. Just one factoid.
Right.
One something. Anything. The doctor can give us something to make this movie worth my time. And she didn't. It was just, oh, hey, I'm glad you're here. And that was it. And she named the kids at the end. Neat. Awesome. Wasted time. Congratulations.
Well, she had to at that point. I mean, you know, they were in with a shit ton of other kids.
Boy. Come on now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's just so general then. You know, and then they're going to find all their other friends got names, and then they're going to be like, Mom, why the fuck can I have a name?
Wrapping this up, the concept of the film is cool. It's a mashup film like we already discussed. The concept was there. The writing execution was just piss poor, but it had good actors to carry it, and honestly, I think that's why it got the accolades that it did, because it had a good cast of good, established actors in it, and I think that is what actually carried it, not the film itself, because it wasn't very good. But again, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't very good. It was lacking in so many ways.
I mean... We're in total agreement on this, and you could probably mark that down as the time we're in total agreement on a film.
Yeah, sure.
This reaction, this has been one of the most amazing reactions to one of the most mediocre films of all time.
Yep, that's a great way of wrapping it up.
I'm stunned, and I'm really worried now about America going forward.
Oh man, if this is what's tipping you over, Vance, we need to talk about.
Well, it's not the tipping point. It's we're on the downside of the slide here.
I do have to say that we manufactured and tied our blindfolds exactly as they did in the film, and we even researched material and got similar material. and I can still see light, shadows, and some objects through mine, which is like triple layered. So if I can see enough through this to kind of make out some things in the room, then I would have definitely seen the monster with my blindfold on and killed myself anyways.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
And, you know, it's maybe the question of all post-apocalyptic films. Do you really want to live in this world?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you really not want to take the fast way out and save yourself the trouble?
But again, if they gave us some resolve, then maybe we would know where the universe building is going.
Yeah.
But there was nothing. We give that a head shake. So, what did you guys think? Did you love this movie? Did you hate this movie? Did you think that Bird Box was the greatest thing ever, even though they named the film out of something they had just been doing in coal mines before, and they don't even explain that shit either? Just one of many problems with this film. Let us know. Comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Argue with our thoughts. Do whatever you want. Do we recommend watching this video? If you want to. If you miss it, no big deal. If you watch it, you'll be disappointed at the end.
Peace.
Under no circumstance are you allowed to take off your blindfold.